Thank you for joining me, ladies and gentlemen. Today's video, strictly 2022 Notre Dame quarterback recruiting. This is by far the most analyzed, criticized position in recruiting and, of course, in college and in the NFL. But where Notre Dame's at right now, quarterback recruiting is essential. You need to land a top quarterback year in and year out. I believe they did it in 2021 with Tyler Buchner. But 1 year might not be enough. Buchner maybe won't pan out, might not be the guy they want him to. So we go to 2022. 2023, they do not have any offers out on the board yet, and I don't expect them until probably May or June or maybe even July or August. I doubt they wait till August, but probably June, probably May. Really quickly, I know you guys are wanting to hear about Drew Aller. I will probably talk about Drew Aller last, so about the probably 7, 8, maybe 6 minute mark. I'm starting with Angeli, then I'm going to Wimsat, then I'm going to Aller. If you are just here for the video to hear who I think Notre Dame will tag as their quarterback, I think it'll be Angeli when push comes to shove. And if I had to pick one, if I could pick one of the three, I'd pick Aller personally. So that's my take on the situation on the room. But Steve Angeli is a guy Notre Dame offered in early August. Immediate Notre Dame love. Looked like a Notre Dame lean from right when they offered. He's a high academic kid, has offers from Georgia Tech, BC, Stanford, Duke, I believe. This is a guy that still is probably Notre Dame's number 1 or number 2 guy. I think Aller is probably number 1 right now. And if they whiff on Aller, it goes back to Angeli and Wimsat. Angeli's visited campus once on a self-guided tour. He's been playing with Chicago Boom, the area 7-on-17 for the state of Illinois, pretty much. This is a weird recruitment to read because, of course, Notre Dame's trying to keep him warm as they really put their eggs in that Drew Aller basket because they think he's a good backup option and I think they can still land him if they whiff on Aller. But Angeli has a lot of big-time offers. The U, LSU, Miami, and it's not like those schools aren't recruiting him. Some schools that are recruiting right now really hard, Stanford and Michigan State, Boston College from what I've heard. But Tommy Rees and company are still talking to him, keeping him warm. And I think Angeli will end up in this Notre Dame class. I'm going to move on to the second quarterback I'll be mentioning today. Also, I'm not mentioning Ty Simpson committed to Alabama. That was just a terrible offer. I'm going to be completely honest. Gavin Wimsat, though, ranked at number 60 on Rivals, number 91 on 247. This is the highest rated kid out of any of them combined, I guess. Aller's it's a 5.7 on Rivals and I believe 87 on 247. Wimsat's below the 91 mark on both sites. But Wimsat doesn't have the big offers that Angeli and Aller do. He released the top 9. It was a bunch of kind of random schools. Kentucky was on there, Cincinnati, Georgia Tech. I think Notre Dame's biggest competitor here is Kentucky. He is from near Lexington, Kentucky, Owensboro, Kentucky. And they've been pretty much recruiting him since freshman year. So you got to think Mark Stoops can pull something there for the number 1 in-state quarterback and the top 100 quarterback. But the Notre Dame offer was huge. It's definitely his biggest offer up to this point. And a lot of those other big-time schools, they thought they had their guy. Clemson has Klubnik. Alabama has Simpson. LSU has Howard. Georgia has Gunnar Stockton. Texas has Malik Murphy. So a lot of these schools, they have their guys. That's why Wimsat and Aller, pretty much the 2 highest-ranked guys. MJ Morris up there, too, a guy who Notre Dame was looking at pretty heavy from Pace Academy. Jaden Thomas's good friend and quarterback. Those 3 guys are pretty much the highest-rated, highest-ranked, uncommitted guys on the board. And now Notre Dame can probably flip Sam Horn, the current Mizzou commit from Georgia. They can probably flip some of those guys that committed to smaller schools. But at the end of the day, rankings do matter in my mind, but they don't when you're a coach at a big-time school. Tommy Rees and co., they don't look at the stupid rankings, but They added Wimsatt and Jelly first, so you got to think Wimsatt and Jelly are the top 2 targets still on the board. But Aller seems to be closing on a commitment, whether that's to Notre Dame or to Penn State, I will discuss in a second. But you got to think Wimsatt and Jelly are still on the top of their board and are still being talked to by Brian Kelly, Tommy Rees, and everyone on that staff. Okay, Drew Aller, I'm talking about him. My pick is in for Penn State, and I feel good about that pick. I'm sorry. I had to break the ice. Super, super talented kid. If Notre Dame would have offered maybe 2 months ago or 45 days ago, I think he might already be committed to Notre Dame. I want to go out on a limb and say that just because there has been interest from both parties. He visited Notre Dame for Junior Day. On the last day Notre Dame had visits, that's February, connected with Drew Pine. Loved the campus. But he didn't have an offer. He had 2 offers, Central Michigan, and it might have been Bowling Green. I forget. There was one other like MAC school or something. But his recruitment just skyrocketed, had like a high 20 touchdown season. You saw the arm strength. You saw the mobility. Looks Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes, like just an incredible junior year. I actually watched his highlights before. I even heard Notre Dame was looking at him, just from random YouTube videos and whatnot. And I'm like, what the hell? How is this kid a 3-star? And of course, he bumped up a crazy amount on the 247 rankings that were released 2 weeks ago. He's now number 89 in the country, the number 6 overall pro quarterback. That is better than what Tyler Buchner was at this time last year, I believe. Actually, no, that's a lie. Tyler Buchner had a huge bump, even a bigger jump. Excuse me, that was not factual. But Aller's super talented. Like I said, if Buchner doesn't pan out, you need a guy in back-to-back classes to fill that void for an elite quarterback, and I think Aller will be an elite quarterback at the next level. But right now, it's hard to say this. I think Penn State will land his commitment. Mike Urich landed C.J. Stroud last year for Ohio State. Was at Texas for a little bit. He can recruit quarterbacks. He can recruit for sure. Landing a guy like Stroud from Rancho Cucamonga, California, all the way to Columbus, Ohio is pretty crazy. Got to give him a lot of props for that. And I just think he's going to end up at Penn State. He likes the offense Mike Urich will run. He's visited Penn State before, and it's a little bit closer to home. I mean, that doesn't really matter. It's pretty much 3 hours, 3.5, 2.5 hours either way. But I don't know. I just think Aller's going to end up at Penn State. There's been a lot of buzz behind the scenes on this. I believe he was scheduled to have a Zoom call with Brian Kelly tonight. That will no longer be happening. A little nugget there. So that kind of puts Notre Dame fans down in the dumps. When I heard that, I was a little frustrated. But hey, Aller could turn something around. He could watch Rudy this weekend. He could get in the road and be like, screw it, I want to see South Bend another time. Something can happen. Penn State can say, you know what, we're only going to take 1 quarterback, as they already have a quarterback committed, which is interesting, very interesting, that they're taking 2 quarterbacks in this class. 2 high-caliber 4-stars for that. I say, because Bo Parabola is a 4-star from York, Pennsylvania. He's been committed since early August, and he looks very solid on that pledge. So I guess Penn State's taking 2 quarterbacks, and I guess Aller's fine with that. He also visited Pitt 2 weeks ago, like that visit, but Pitt should not really be a big factor in this recruitment. It's a Penn State-Notre Dame duel, and I think Penn State definitely has the lead right now. Wiltfong dropped a crystal ball. I bought into that, but I didn't buy into it a ton. I wanted to see if the Zoom call would happen tonight. It is not, and that kind of put my hopes down in the dirt. But hey, like I said, he could watch Rudy. He could spontaneously go to South Bend. You never know. But right now, if I had to make a pick on who will end up in this class, realistically, it's going to be Angeli. But if I had to pick one of these guys, I'll say this when this class is over, maybe, because sure, they have their senior year. They could get injured, whatnot. I think Aller will be the best quarterback out of the 3 when push comes to shove in 5 or 6 years when their college careers are over. That's the video, guys. Please chuck a like. Share it with your friends. Comment. I respond to all comments. Ton of buzz going on right now in Notre Dame recruiting. It doesn't have to be quarterback specific. And yeah, thank you for watching, especially if you made it to the end. I do these live so I can see how many of you guys are watching now. 4 people. That's pretty cool. But yeah, like, subscribe, do all that good stuff. Drop a comment. I'll respond. And yeah, have a good day. Peace.